fluffy, steamed barbecue pork buns. There is not much else in the world that is more delightful than these little treats. This is my version of Chinese dim sum pork buns. Some people take great joy in making bread dough at home or pizza dough. For me, this steamed bun dough is one of those truly joyous things to make at home. Really good and easy. So we're going to start off with some flour. I am using what's called cake flour. It's not as bleached white as your what we would call like Hong Kong flour or bao flour. You can find that in an Asian grocery store, and feel free to use that one if you want to, but cake flour is very easy to find in a mainstream supermarket. So I've got that one. It means though that your buns might not be as bright white as a restaurant style one, but they'll have a bit more flavor. And some sugar, some baking powder, and some instant yeast. So just be careful when you're buying yeast that you're buying the instant version. This version doesn't need to be bloomed in hot water. It can be thrown straight into the mix here. It's also called fast action yeast as well. So that's the one you're looking for. Just give this a mix. And make a well in the center. Now pour in some water. Some vegetable oil, and then start mixing that from the center, slowly working in that flour. And then once your dough doesn't seem to be heating your wooden spoon anymore, get in there with your hands. Now I want to take this and pop it onto my workbench, a little bit of flour on here to stop sticking. And then here's where you want to just relax into this kneading process. You want to give this a good 10 minutes so that the dough becomes really beautifully smooth. Okay, so that dough has come together beautifully, and that's what I love about this dough. It has a really lovely, soft, pliable texture, which makes it a real joy to work with. So I'm going to put that into a bowl. Now just cover that with a lid and let it rest for 20 minutes. So in the meantime, let's do our filling. I just need a little bit of oil in my pan here, and some garlic, and some onion. Now to help those onions break down and become nice and sweet, I'm going to add a little bit of salt. That'll help to draw out some of the moisture. Now those onions have had a couple of minutes, they're beautifully soft. Now I'm going to add in some Chinese barbecue pork. So you can buy this from like a Chinese restaurant, Chinese barbecue restaurant. I actually am using my homemade version, and there's a video on how to make this on my website if you would like to give it a try. Now I'm going to add that in. And some char siu sauce. So char siu sauce is Chinese barbecue sauce. You can find it in the Asian aisle of most supermarkets. And now some seasoning, some soy sauce and some sugar. Okay, now I'm going to add some water. And I want to let this pork simmer in that beautiful sweet sauce for about 3 or 4 minutes, just to let those flavors intensify. Oh, so this pork is smelling so amazing. I'm always so tempted to start digging in right now before I make the buns, but I will refrain from doing that and add in a little bit of corn flour mixed with some water. What we want to do here is create almost like a pork jelly that will sit inside of our buns. Now you can see just how thick that's become almost instantly. Now I have to get this out to cool before I make my buns, so just out onto a tray. And then I'm going to pop this in the freezer, and by the time my dough is ready to roll out, this should be nice and cool. Time to have a look at our dough. Now I want to get a little bit of flour out onto my surface here. Just take my dough and then roll it out. We're going to do a couple of rolls and folds here. Fold that dough over and roll again. Fold it over. One more roll out here. Now roll that dough up to form a cylinder. Now I want to cut this into 16 even pieces. Just place those pieces out. And you can see we've got a lovely spiral shape there with our dough. That's going to give us a little bit more air and some fluff. Now I'm going to cover these up while I roll them out so they don't dry out. Take one of your dough pieces, sprinkle with a little bit of flour, and in the first instance roll out into a circle. And then just like you would with a dumpling wrapper, I want you to take your rolling pin and just thin out the edges of that circle, leaving the center with a little bit more mass than the outside. This way we're going to get a more even spread of our dough around that filling. My pork is nice and cool now. And now here comes the fun part, folding and wrapping our little buns. So follow my lead, take a piece of your wrapper. Now put a generous helping of pork in the middle there. I don't like to be too stingy with my sticky pork. Okay, now this goes sort of like a soup dumpling fold, but it's a lot bigger, so it's easier. So take your right hand and use your left index finger to push a little pleat into your right hand, and then push again into your right hand. And you're basically using both hands to kind of wrap and pleat around the top of the filling. And then you'll get to the point where everything wants to close up. Your thumb should still be in the middle there, and start twisting and then squeeze. And there you go, beautiful little steamed bun shape. Now just tuck in those beautiful little buns with a slightly damp tea towels to keep the air out. And then let these guys rest for half an hour. Okay, so now we are ready to steam our little guys. Let's get them out into a bamboo steamer, just with some baking paper on the bottom so we don't get any sticking to the bottom. Now I've got some boiling water here, and these just need about 12 minutes until they're beautifully fluffy. So let's have a look at our buns. Oh, so good. There you go. The moment of truth though is opening these guys up and having a look. Oh, wow, look at how light and fluffy that bun is, just the way it should be. I just can't wait. That combination of that super fluffy bun and then that really savory, sweet, salty pork, one of life's true pleasures.
If you've got any comments or questions, pop them below. And if you enjoyed the video, why not hit that subscribe button plus the little bell one, and that way you'll get notified every time I release a new video. Thanks guys.